I am not very good at games. And not just Terraria, but all games. I'm not the worst, and perhaps I'm not really as bad as I think I am, but I have plenty of special moments.
Team care powers, activate! Yeah!
And sometimes I do something pretty cool.
Whoa! Oh, gosh!
But as someone who has played Terraria since its inception, you would think I'd be good at the game at this point.
Ah!
I am doing a very poor job at this whole dodging thing. Don't.
Rorbin, there are clouds, they do damage, you don't touch the clouds.
Oh, no! No, get moving! Oh, no!
Well, no. And so the mountain of skill issue comments quickly mounted, especially during the streams where I can't edit out my many issues. And, well, after being a content creator in the space for nearly 2 years, the weight of the skill issue was beginning to weigh heavily upon my fragile YouTuber ego. I've called myself a pro and even managed to defeat Terraria Hardcore in Expert and Master Mode, and yet the skill issue remains, and I can't take it. I can't go down in the halls of Terraria history as just another YouTuber with a serious case of skill issue. I have to get good. I need to get good. I have to be the very best, which is what led me here today. I don't think it'd be argued that one of the greatest indicators of your skill in Terraria is how well you deal with the bosses. How fast do you kill them? How often are you hit? As well as the difficulty you set your world to. So to climb up the mountain of skill, I wanted to not take one small step and set up camp, but to stretch myself to climb as high as possible. And the first step in that journey would be to learn how to no-hit every single boss in the game on Master Mode. If you don't know what no-hitting is, then I hope the term alone explains it. I can't be hit even a single time by these bosses or else I lose. No longer can I rely on high defense or regeneration to carry me through a battle. I need to be absolutely perfect. Nothing else will do. Plus the bosses will have their maximum bulk. Their patterns will last longer, and I'm pretty sure Master Mode adds some attacks to a few of the bosses. But can I actually do it? Well, that's what I aim to find out.
Let's fight King Slime and see if we can get our first no-hit. Okay, so the thing about King Slime though is that he's very easy. Like this should be like a walk in the park. Just gotta watch for his teleporting, because if he teleports on your face, well then you got a problem. And then you gotta look out for all of his slimy boys, of course. Oh, guys, I'm getting so good. I'm no-hitting King Slime. I'm so good at this game. Oh. Okay, we're good. Got a lot of little slimes, not a big fan of that. And first no hits has been completed. King Slime, easy boss. Oh, I even fought it harder than it needed to be. These are Master Mode slimes. What I meant to say was a hard mode slimes. See, to fight these bosses, I hopped back onto my beloved world from 1 Year, 1 World. This map already has many of the arenas built, plus they are going to be a realistic size, which brings me to some of the stipulations for my no-hitting journey. I am not allowed to cheese any of the bosses. Killing a boss in 10 seconds or less is an accomplishment, sure, but that doesn't actually require skill, just head knowledge, and maybe just a little skill. But I wanted to actually learn and know the boss's attacks and be forced to evade them regularly. I also want to use gear that is not just on tier, but what I'll dub quote-unquote reasonable. There are weapons and accessories I could use to absolutely maximize my setup while still remaining on tier, such as how you can technically get full molten gear pre-boss, but what I wanted was to only use equipment that felt like something an average person would use, find, or interact with at the boss's point of progression. Are many of my decisions going to be totally arbitrary?
Perhaps, as most experienced players would kill King Slime without ever finding a boomstick, fossil armor, or fishing for a frog leg like I did in my battle. So if you notice that I'm not fully optimized, then that's potentially the reason why. It's also possible I just forgot something existed. Oh, and all those little tabs you see on the screen, there's a mod that allows me to grab gear I need and, well, a whole lot of other things as well. It's there for convenience, to focus on killing the bosses without needing to do a full run and farm for hours, and there is a button here that can enable God mode. It of course remains off during boss fights, but will be cut out during portions of fights to make a more interesting video. If you doubt I did the no-hit legit, you can check the full live stream to verify. Now, King Slime was always going to be a walk in the park, and it was great, starting with such an easy boss. But now we're on to Eye of Cthulhu. This boss isn't all that difficult in regular runs, however, avoiding being hit entirely by the eye, I believe will be quite tricky. Its dashes in Master Mode are quite difficult to avoid in their entirety. The first battle didn't go all that bad, all things considered. Uh-oh. Oh, this is working! It's work! It's working! We're doing it! Oh, those little eyeballs. Ah, darn it! I enabled a mod that reduces me to 1 HP so as to avoid me accidentally missing damage taken. Now, even the tiny Servants of Cthulhu can kill me. Ow! Okay, I am doing very poorly already. This failure taught me my first lesson against the Eye of Cthulhu. You need to make sure all the servants are dead. Leaving even one of those little boogers around easily led to death, and they can also take your eyes off of the main body. Second lesson is that the second phase, well, at first it does 3 little dashes before doing the big dashes, but that's not a guarantee. Sometimes it does fast dashes without warning you with the short ones. Darn it! I added the slimy saddle to my build. Its ability to make me fall twice as fast will both make it easier to dodge the fast dashes and hopefully protect me from taking contact damage and allowing me to instead bounce off of the thing. Uh-oh. This run. Oh, come on! Oh, this is going wonderfully. It's not the most helpful because I kept forgetting to use it and sometimes the eye would dash from above, but it was becoming quickly apparent that the Eye of Cthulhu, the second boss of the game, was going to be my first major obstacle. Of course, the only issue is the dashes. Now, I could just make one long platform and run along it, but I wanted to actually dodge the dashes, not just run away and make them a non-factor. The slimy saddle was also no guarantee of protection, because apparently it won't bounce off of it every time. Wait, what? I'm pretty sure that it can bounce off of a dash, but I have to assume there are certain conditions that must be met. Here's what I learned after many failures. For one, the smaller dashes are health-based. Most of the time, it'd do the smaller dashes 2 times before foregoing them entirely, but sometimes it would only use the small dashes once. And perhaps this is obvious, but the eye will dash upwards if you are above it and downwards if you're below it, so simply going up or down is no guarantee the eye won't catch up. What I didn't figure out was a reliable way to dodge these dashes. No matter the vertical, the eye would overtake me on the horizontal. I thought this might be like a 1 or 2 try boss. Nope. Oh, no. Without any form of dash for myself, dodging the third of the eye's dashes became too much. 2 was often fine, but after the third, the eye would have caught up. One idea I had was to use the ruby hook to quickly turn around, but the issue with this strategy is that the eye did not dash a consistent number of times. To use the hook turnaround effectively, I would have to know exactly how many dashes to expect, but sometimes it do 2, others 3, 4, or even 5. This lack of consistency made the boss too unpredictable to dodge. All this failure leads to the obvious question. Can I actually do this? It's so early to be asking this, but I'm only on the second boss. How could I possibly hope to kill the rest of the bosses in the game when the eye has set me back so far? Well, I am glad to say that my journey did not end here.
Yes! Oh, finally!
In the end, I did end up running in a straight line, which perhaps is necessary, but I'm still happy with it because I stuck to the confines of the arena for the most part and had to position myself in such a way to have enough runway for the final portion rather than simply making one really long platform. 2 bosses down, next to the brain of Cthulhu.
Let's just see how this goes. Maybe it'll be easy boss, you know? Maybe it won't. I don't know anymore. Wait, I have the Shield of Cthulhu now. Forgot about that. Woo! Threading the needle. Oh, I did not see him coming. The first obstacle, the creepers. How do you keep yourself from being hit by them entirely?
Perhaps a sword or whip would be better suited for this, but the Jester's arrows are more than effective enough. The problem with the creepers is that they kept spreading out and surrounding or engulfing me. There's so many of them, and they go through blocks while my weapons do not. The brain would also teleport into my face from time to time. What I learned is that the best way to deal with the creepers was to stand as still as physically possible. This kept them from spreading out. The way they move is in these sort of periodic lunges, and they don't lunge all at once, but take turns in quick succession. The position they lunge at is your current location, so by staying in one small area, they'll all lunge in large groups, allowing me to hit more of them and do more damage while also making them more predictable. This is my understanding of the creepers. Phase 2, however, is where the main problem is.
Sword is safer. Sword is for safety. No! Darn it!
That one instance and future ones had me scratching my head. I would be hitting the brain and still get swallowed up by it. The brain is designed so that in the second phase, you need some sort of knockback to keep it away from you. But I quickly found myself not believing this, as even when I was consistently hitting the brain, it still teleported directly upon my face. People always say you need to know which brain it is, and there are several strategies for accomplishing this, but even when I knew which brain it was and was actively hitting it, the brain would still hit me. I tried using the bow for better damage and the sword as it's more guaranteed to hit the brain, but nothing changed. Scratching my head, I enabled God mode so I could watch the brain's movements more carefully. The brain always attacks towards the player and whacking it keeps it away, but I also found some success in running away. Going straight to the side or straight up seemed to keep it at bay. I couldn't find an exact method for the movement, but it worked. Pretty sure this is contrary to what most people would recommend, but I think moving around a lot during second phase might keep it from hitting me. My first attempt after this failed, but I didn't do something very important. I need to move right after it teleports. I can't keep consistent movement. The brain teleports, I dash, and then slow to a standstill. This helped a lot, but not enough. No-hitter Cataclysmic recommended smaller movements between teleports rather than the larger ones, but that didn't help me either. As it would turn out, there was one tiny change that had to be made. A friend of mine suggested I try using Frostburn arrows in the second phase. This will mark the real brain and make it easier to identify.
I want to run Contra to Cataclysmic, Mr. Big no-hitter dude, run Contra to his suggestion and run around like a madman. Said it's the fastest way to get yourself killed. I think it's the fastest way to stay alive! Stay alive! Oh my goodness, this is actually going to work. Oh my goodness, this is actually going to work. See, jumping around like a madman works every single time!
3 of 18 bosses cleared. I didn't know it'd be this hard to take down the pre-hard mode ones, but I think the next two will be easier. The Eater of Worlds and Skeletron. A lot of people recommended I fight the Eater above ground, and I get why people do that, as the extra room is great, but fighting the worm underground lets you break the spit he shoots, making these projectiles less of an issue.
Why is the Eater of Worlds just floating in? The Eater of Worlds has ascended beyond our control.
I've also grown accustomed to fighting him down here, so it just felt right. In the end, there wasn't a whole lot to learn about the worm fight. You just need high piercing, try not to break it into a lot of segments, and watch for the spit. No pattern, no secrets, other than maybe using the magic carpet to hover over the long worm and the slime mountain to avoid falling on it.
Hold on now! Right after I activated the grapple, I saw it!
Other than that, then all there was to do was just do it.
Oh no! Ooh, that was way too close. Uh-oh. Oh, there's too many. No! Oh my goodness, oh, I'm still alive! No way! No way! Ooh. Oh! No! Oh my goodness! I should not still be alive! Come on, clear all the small ones. I don't think I can break those because they're on the surface. Okay. Okay. Oh! Ah! Ah! I don't like this! I really don't like this! Ah! Get back underground. I think I'm better down here. I'm getting so lucky is what I'm getting. Okay, we got rid of the small one. It's just the one like, little medium worm. Be careful with it. Be careful with it. Okay, oh, we just split into 2, 4. Oh boy. Okay, we got one of them. Come on. Come on. Come on. There's so few. I know a Vile Spit is just like a rogue Vile Spit would just take me down. All right, last part. Just one hit. Come on. There's no way!
And so falls the Eater of Worlds, the first boss where I activated the professional inside of me. I am one step closer, and I can feel the tingling sensation of skill within my bones. But as I approach the jungle, I have to wonder if this feeling is going to be short-lived.
Oh, the bees are upscaled to hard mode. Oh no. You can, oh, I have God mode enabled. Gosh darn it.
Well, that's going to be an issue. Guess I'll need to abandon my beautiful one year, one world and make a new one. I set up a quick arena and went into Queen Bee, firmly believing this won't take long at all.
Oh, wow, you're shooting a lot more than I thought you would. All right, that's fine. Oh, you're doing it again. Oh! Bees. I was going to say are much easier to handle. Oh, dang. Okay, the little bees are going to be a lot bigger of a problem than I thought they would be.
The bees were a serious problem. The stingers weren't that bad, but it took some time to figure them out. The bees, though, they ruined everything. I could dodge or clutch the Shield of Cthulhu into the bee, but would bounce back into the small bees. When Queen Bee shot the bees at me too, they would surround me on either side, and depending on Queen Bee's attack pattern, I needed to be able to dash out of the situation, but would only end up running into bees.
Oh! No!
I tried whipping out the blade of grass to clear the bees quickly, but it wasn't necessarily better, only really being useful in the most desperate situations. I switched to meteor bullets over the silver ones because they can pierce and bounce. This definitely made the bees a bit easier to deal with, but choosing to use the boomstick is part of the problem. I would often not shoot a single bullet straight in the direction I was shooting, so a bee a very short distance away from me would avoid being hit repeatedly despite being inches away, but they could still be damaged, and I learned something about the stinger attack. If you can get underneath the very first stinger, the rest of them are going to miss you by a country mile. So as long as I keep an eye out for the start of that attack, I can make it a total non-factor.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this is... Oh. Come on. Okay, I am now starting to notice that she does get significantly more difficult. Okay. We're at 500. Come on. Avoid her little bee friends. Can't tell if I should focus on them so they're out of the way. Focus on her so she's gone. Come on. Wait, what? No!
I did not see those tiny little bees at all. I could absolutely have killed Queen Bee, and not even after that long, but that's far from the only time I failed to see those bees.
We want to come back stronger than ever, guys. Oh!
At the very least, I am still growing. Turns out when Queen Bee summons her bees, if you slowly move or stand still, they are a little easier to deal with. I wouldn't always follow this advice, but moving slowly in one direction prevented the bees from surrounding me on both sides and kept them to just one. After that, there wasn't anything else to learn, really, at least nothing I could think of. There might be some more optimal strategies like using Inferno potions to help deal with the bees, but I didn't feel comfortable with using these potions at this point. I just like imagining the underworld and its entirety and its loot as something you only get while prepping for the wall. Is it arbitrary? Perhaps, but that's what I decided for myself. That's why I'm also not using underworld gear. I also haven't fought Skeletron, and forget if Skeletron or Queen Bee are meant to be fought first, and I was imagining I was pre-Skeletron at this point, so I'm not using any dungeon gear. It was really just coming down to whether I could truly get good or not. And I wasn't. Eventually, I broke down and switched to post-Skeletron gear, equipping Necro armor and handgun. It's more directional, so it could kill the bees easier and has a solid damage output. And, well, that little change did the trick.
It's dead. It's finally dead. We're done. We're done with the stupid Queen Bee.
I'm not feeling particularly skillful after that one, but I definitely understand Queen Bee a lot more, and that's the big thing. Knowing the bosses well will make them more manageable when I do have more health and I can actually take damage, so even if I struggle here, I know there is improvement. Next up is the hovering pile of bones. Had to switch back to my, pre-dungeon loot, obviously, and this shouldn't take long at all, right?
Keeping him more contained makes him a lot easier. Oh, I have God mode enabled. Yeah, I should have probably died there.
The hands turned out to be a little more challenging than expected, but that's not what I was afraid of.
Timing the skulls from spinning to skulls, that is by far the most dangerous part once you get to skulls. Because From spinning to shooting is just on a dime, and it's very hard to anticipate. And once he goes into spinning mode, start counting how long until he shoots. All right, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi. Okay, so about 9 seconds.
Maybe this is surprising, but this counting was exactly what I needed to do to ensure I was not hit by the first skull shot from the head at the end of the spin cycle.
Okay, let's go! All right. 4 attempts, and one of them I had to throw because I had God mode enabled. Now we have a problem. Deerclops.
Deerclops is an absolute no-hitting menace. I've made an executive decision. I do not care if I cheese Deerclops, just a little bit. The problem with the deer is her randomly spawning shadow hands.
Oh, stupid shadow hands!
These things really are random in where they spawn, as far as I can tell, and that makes them a menace when avoiding all damage. As for the cheese, what is it? Well, if you bring Deerclops onto some platforms and stay a little above and to one of the sides of her, then she'll constantly attempt what I dub the ice chunk attack. However, if she's not close enough to the ground, then she can't actually lift up any of the icy chunks from this attack. This means you basically negate the attack and only have to deal with the shadow hands, you know, the random ones, which are a real problem still, mind you. Fun fact, I also learned that if she brings her hands from the ground up, then she's using the ice chunk attack, but if her hands move from bottom up, then it's the ice spikes. Pretty neat, and I won't deny this is pretty cheesy, but I love the gray Zappinator.
There we go! Oh, that must have been like a lucky crit. Let's go!
Skeletron, Deerclops, both of them combined have taken a lot less time than Queen Bee, which wasn't anticipated, but clearing them leaves only one more obstacle pre-hard mode, the Wall of Fresh. One of the bosses I've been dreading the most, but I guess I'm dreading just about every boss. The issue with the wall, though, is that I don't know if there really is a pattern to read. I considered using melee with a Knight's Edge at the start to get some quick heavy damage and then change to another build, but that was a dumb idea. Because the obvious problem is the wall's lasers, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do to dodge those. At least, that was until the next battle.
How am I going to dodge the lasers later in this fight? Genuinely, how? Maybe I have to grapple or something. I feel like I basically have to hide behind blocks. Oh, we just did massive damage. Hold on, this could be it, Refine. Refine. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, I thought I hadn't jumped high enough. Okay. Oh, it's catching up. Oh, it is catching up. No! We did so good! Oh, all right, but we know what to do.
I was shocked. The wall isn't going to be that much of an issue after all. Still took a while, as it's just hard to anticipate when the lasers are going to come while also moving around enough from different hiding spots. Also, the worms would kill me while hiding in the lower sections. I also ended up winning in part because of stupidly lucky damage from the Zappinator right at the end of the battle, but I count that as a total victory, which brings me to the dreaded hard mode. I can't hardly believe I've made it this far. Halfway, depending on how you look at it, to conquering all of Terraria's bosses without being hit even once. I can feel that skill issue once again washing off like dirt and grime in the shower. I know I am better. I am capable. But hard mode is where the bosses start getting interesting, and there are many great threats that are ahead. Halfway to conquering my skill issue, just another halfway to go. If there's any boss that projectile spams, it's Queen Slime. I think she's even worse than most too, because most of her projectiles are pretty random in their movement. Even if the bouncy spheres she shoots always go in the same directions, they bounce, adding a massive random factor, which is compounded by the slime she spawns. I tried using crystal darts with my ranger build, thinking that the bouncing darts would work best, but eventually switched to cursed darts, which I found more effective. Oh, and this is my loadout. Maybe the bundle of balloons is a little unusual, as very few people probably get that, but I feel comfortable using it now. In first phase of Queen Slime, it's not that bad, so long as you keep the minions under control. It's second phase where things get a bit tricky. With some help from chat, I learned that flying over Queen Slime in this phase can greatly decrease the number of projectiles I have to dodge.
Oh! How did that hit me? How am I alive? How am I alive? How am I alive? How am I alive? Oh my goodness. How am I alive? I should not be alive.
No minions, right? Yep, no minions here.
No! No! You gotta be kidding me! I quit! I'm done!
Retreating downwards almost always resulted in death. Sometimes Queen Slime would cheat.
What was that?
And despite knowing that flying over her is the best way to go, it's not always an option in second phase. You have to really carefully time when you dash over her because she can easily keep pace with your flying. Basically, only when she's flying downwards do you try to fly up and over her. One thing that also made her tough while flying up high is that when she shoots her projectiles, she can also summon some of her slime friends. So when I'd cut in to dodge what she was shooting, there would be slimes waiting for me on the platform below. It took a while, but in the end, this battle comes primarily to being able to manage the minions, fly over her in second form, and dodging 8 million projectiles until eventually you land a clean victory.
Keep shooting.
Yes! Yes, we got her! Let's go! Okay, I was going to say, wait, how are there so many things? I thought I might have had God mode on. There were so many projectiles, yet I was still alive. It didn't make any sense.
The mechs are up, and I struggle with the twins, so that'll be just great. But Destroyer has so many probes and shoots lasers all over the place, so I'm sure Destroyer will be the greatest issue. I was also debating how I should fight the mechs. Should I fight them all with pre-mech gear? Could I use mech gear for all of them? Did I progressively upgrade, so if I beat one mech, I could use its gear, but the first one had to be all pre-mech? Well, I went with pre-mech for all of them, and I figured I'd just give the Destroyer a shot. The one I'm sure will be the biggest obstacle.
Let's see how this goes. This could be very easy or very hard. And there is not going to be an... Ah! There's not going to be an in-between. Oh boy. Oh. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is already going so much better than it has any right to be going. Come on, first try Destroyer, first try Destroyer. Come on. Come on, we can do this. Come on. No, that was so close, so close. No, no. Probes. Back off, back off. Back off. Come on. Come on. Oh, no, 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 no. Ah! All right, we can do this. We can do this. We can absolutely do this. We're doing it.
Never in a million years would I have thought Destroyer would be one of the easiest bosses, but here we are. Sure, you can cheese him easily, but the laser spam I figured would hinder my progress for the longest time. Turns out, too, that using the unicorn mount with a bundle of balloons to chain dash in the air is kind of broken.
Oh, where did you come from? And how did... Oh, God mode enabled again. All right, I got hit.
And as tempting as it is to cream the thing when it spawns in...
That might have been a very big mistake. Hold up. How many probes am I about to get? Oh!
And Destroyer also brought up something I hadn't considered.
Oh, boy. Okay, hit the ground. That's good. I need to touch it normally, too. Otherwise, it doesn't
Does that... Does that count?
No, it doesn't count, I suppose. The boss has to die first. If I die before the boss, then I didn't no-hit the boss. But if the boss dies and then I die soon after, for whatever reason, then it does indeed count. Which is something we decided literally at the perfect time.
Come on, come on.
No! Wait! Wait! Is that a win? Oh my goodness, that was like the exact same moment. Oh, right, I could show. You're right, you guys are right. You're so right. I killed Destroyer first. I win. Let's go. That is so dumb.
I could not have asked for a better finish, and so I brush off the anxiety of the Destroyer's lasers and move on to the next mech, the twins.
Darn it. Oh! Spaz actually shoots more projectiles the closer he gets to second phase. I never noticed that. Oh, that was a bad. Oh! Your lasers are making my
Gosh darn it!
Oh! Oh, wait, I need to get around.
Oh! Sniped! Oh, I jumped! I knew it was coming and jumped! No!
Destroyer, I thought, would be a problem because of his many random lasers. Little did I know that this applied to Retinator far more than the Destroyer. Because, in spite of the Destroyer's lasers, they actually have limited range, shoot in straight lines, and the probe lasers are slow enough to react to. Retinator, however, his lasers were so fast and random that there simply was no dodging them at times.
Buddy!
Given time, I became more accustomed to dodging the fireballs and was able to reliably do so in most circumstances. The lasers, however, there was no countering it. Attempt after attempt, and I could not identify any pattern at all. For a time, I thought that Retinator would only shoot while Spaz was dashing, but that's not the case. What makes it really bad too is that the laser for the most part shoots behind you, but occasionally shoots in front of you. Is there any way to discern which type it will shoot? No, and there's not enough time to read it and dodge. It's just luck of the draw. Another factor that made Retinator a pain is that once Spaz was gone, I wasn't necessarily in the clear, because Retinator would actually run away. I swear, I have never run into this issue in a regular run, so maybe something weird is going on, but in these early battles, after maybe more than 20 attempts, I finally took out Spaz, only for Retinator to leave the battle, forcing me to restart. When I finally got Ret to second form, I figured that running in a straight line would be the safest option, but turns out that's not true. I think that Ret second phase is easily the most difficult part of the twins, and it's so hard to get there that I can't hardly learn the pattern really well. Guess I could have and probably should have just gone into God mode and just learn it, but I'm stubborn as a mule and kept bashing my head into this brick wall. This was a big mistake.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, that was not good positioning. Don't like Ret being there. Oh, that's why I don't like it. At this point, I've been trying to no-hit the twins for an hour and 15 minutes, and it's starting to get under my skin. This makes the twins one of the hardest bosses up to this point, and what makes it real frustrating is that I know it can be done. I just have to do it.
Come on. Yes! Oh, finally!
It took so long, but at last it was finished. Or was it? See, the twins, from time to time, were slow to despawn, and would attack again when I returned to the arena. I mentioned this because I'd turn on God mode, so I didn't have to die while getting the bosses to despawn properly. And as would turn out, I forgot to turn off God mode during the first half of that successful battle. I thought I hadn't been hit, so I continued the battle and won. But upon reviewing the footage, I was very clearly hit by Retinator, while God mode was enabled very early in the battle. This means I didn't actually no-hit the boss. I had to start again, and the twins were beginning to break me.
No! Oh, you gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me!
Several deaths felt justified and fair, like when I obviously positioned myself poorly. There's no dodging that! Other times, I felt cheated in a different way.
That's so bogus!
The loss and failure were relentless, and I was on my last nerve. I knew I could beat the boss. I had already done it, but those random, undodgeable lasers consistently ruined runs, and even more frustrating than that, I kept on making mistakes, misclicking, not anticipating attacks correctly. It was mistake after mistake, and sometimes those mistakes and lapses in judgments would cost me everything.
Oh no! No! 261! I didn't do it right! I did it wrong!
The twins took my skill issue and shoved it directly in my face. I still think the random lasers are unfair to the extreme, but I can't just blame that, as it's not the only reason. I could more consistently kill Spaz and get Ret all on his own, but even then I couldn't quite figure out how to perfectly dodge that second phase. I tested doing circles around the eye, but I did not find it more effective, and at this point, I've hit the 2-hour mark against this one boss. I've been trying to no-hit the twins for 2 hours.
I might never beat them. I don't know. I should be able to. Really should. It's just can't seem to actually just do it.
Maybe this was it for me. No matter how many times I tried, I could not get a perfect run. There was always something that went wrong, whether fair or unfair. Seemingly, the runs where I performed the best, I would be sniped, and runs where I was sloppy, I wouldn't, only for my sloppiness to get the best of me. I didn't expect it, but the twins were going to end the entire challenge. I just couldn't do it. The road ended here.
No! Get up!
But we learned another thing. Stay far away from Rhett and dodge outwards. It gives me more time to react to the lasers.
No! I hit the wrong button! Gosh darn it!
I think part of my problem is that also I've been switching to the golden shower. I need to not do that. How did that dodge? How did that dodge?
This time for real, it was over. I spent nearly 3 hours to accomplish this, and after so much frustration, it was done. Fighting and failing for so long, the victory no longer tasted sweet, but sour. I'm just so angry with myself for failing for so long. I have to be the very best. That's why I'm here, and yet I couldn't finish off this stupid boss for so long. And although it's finally done, it has left a mark on my heart because finishing it off no longer feels like skill, but a happy accident. It took 94 attempts to kill the twins. 94. Haven't broken triple digits yet, I guess, and I can't let anything be worse than those mechanical eyes. From here on out, I have to do better. And what better bosses are there to cleanse my palate than Skeletron Prime and Plantera? First, Skeletron Prime, who, as far as I can tell, doesn't have any real patterns or things to read, just stay away and shoot. I find Prime to be the easiest mech, and the beautiful thing about him is that, unlike the twins, he only gets easier the more damage you do to him. Instead of having to pave a path through a long fight just to get to the part I needed to learn, I often would die early in the battle, and the longer it lasted, the more likely I was to win. So even though there were several failures, the moment I took down the first hand, the laser one, it was a simple matter to clear out the rest. 13 attempts is much nicer. Now on to the sentient cabbage, who should be easy, emphasis on should. Issue is that I decided to just use my Queen Bee arena, which happens to be near the surface, so despite the first attempt going extraordinarily well, the moment I needed to flee, I flew a little too high and she enraged. Plantera's first form is simply just do circles to, avoid taking damage, but I still had nowhere to fly upwards and very little space below me, so I would end up having spiky balls on the bottom of the arena, which would actually stop me from doing those circles. So the arena was expanded, and then I started playing worse. I kept running into the hooks, or flying too high still. Flying too high was especially a problem when Plantera reached second phase. I'm growing a little nervous, as I don't think I should be doing this poorly in first phase, no less, though to be fair to myself, the arena really is a bit of an issue. This is even more apparent once I get to second phase, because I got no room to get around all the little chompy boys. I expanded it again, should really destroy the walls though. The hooks have become a much bigger problem than I thought they were going to be.
Oh, Doc! Those hooks! Why are those hooks? I keep getting hit by them.
What I ended up doing was switching to the melee class. A weird class for no hitting for sure, but the True Hollowed Sword will do wonders for dealing with the little biters. I just need to remember to turn God Mode off.
Oh, God Mode's enabled. I don't think I've been hit, but we gotta restart.
I didn't think first phase would be an issue, even with melee, but I suppose I underestimated how fast those seeds are shot and how quickly the plant can rotate around. I tried the True Knight's Edge because it has more range, allowing me to dodge better, but I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with the thing, probably because I never use it and because it sucks. The main issue really is that Plantera kept clinging close to the walls or ground, forcing me to be closer to the plant than I'd like for dodging. And so I built a really quick mud roof, and this kept her much more center stage, allowing me to clear the cabbage at long last.
That took way more tries than it should have.
Next boss on the list is Golem. And quickly, some of you might be wondering why I haven't fought Fishron yet. I think of him as a post-Golem boss, so we'll be taking the pigfish down next. But in the meantime, I have to find the jungle temple for this world, and something I decided before heading into this is that I'd be stuck with whatever arena I find. I can't modify or change it in any way, because in a regular run, you get what you get. This, as it would turn out, was a massive mistake.
What is this terrible arena? Oh my goodness!
I added a single layer of platforms, but rip me. I notoriously suck at Golem, and now I'm stuck with one of the single smallest Golem arenas I have ever seen. Guess I'm going to actually have to get good at this boss for this to work, and well, I suppose that is the point of this whole video. My plan at the start was to use my melee build again, but this time with the Seedler, because I love the Seedler and I've melted Golem with it before. Yes, you can get the Terra Blade pre-Golem, but I'll only grab that if I'm struggling, because I want to use the Seedler, darn it. I also did something that's probably a bit unconventional. I have heard that not moving around too much helps against Golem, and considering the size of this place, I decided to take off my Terra Spark boots. The Shield of Cthulhu was replaced with the Tabi, and my newly available accessory slot was filled with the Papyrus Scarab. It's not melee, but I couldn't think of any other melee accessories, and minion damage couldn't hurt. To my surprise, the strategy is actually working. The main issue with Golem is going to be late first phase and the bouncing fireballs. The fists can also be an issue.
Oh! I did so well! We actually got really far!
But for the most part, they aren't that big of a deal.
Wow, I saw that coming and did not dodge.
They do, however, keep me from my attempted cheese strategy.
Oh, darn it!
I really thought that might work. With this strategy, I was able to get close to second phase, which should be easier to deal with than late first phase, with its fast lasers and fists, and I figured out I could stand on the corners of the arena and just jump over fists and duck under fireballs no issue, making the early battle consistently easy. Eventually I broke down and switched to the Terra Blade, but that shockingly didn't work very well. The reason being that the effects made it much harder to see the projectiles, so I scrapped it all and went for my beloved Mage with a Razor Pine and Spectre armor. With Mage, I was able to bring Golem all the way to second phase on the first attempt, so Mage it is for the rest of the run, I say. I was getting pretty good at reading his attacks too, just walking back and forth with the occasional dash did wonders. Once the lasers started though, I had to move around a little more sporadically because they shoot too fast to react to most of the time, in particular the first lasers he shoots. The transition between not shooting and shooting is tough to time while I'm going for a casual stroll dodging fists. That's when I realized for the first time that when Golem turns his head, he's about to start shooting. Yes, I played this game for some 11 years, but despite what I'd learned, the changes I'd implemented, and practice, I couldn't quite deal with all the lasers, fists, and fireballs all at once. There was one time that everything aligned just right, and I'd gotten farther than I ever had before, but
oh, he's still on a fist! He's still on a fist! Ah! Oh, that was so close!
all of a sudden, it dawns on me. Golem's fists get faster as they have less health. Same with the lasers. The first phase lasers stop once the head separates, at which point Golem's head floats above me and shoots from above. And dodging the head lasers isn't that big of a deal so long as the fists are gone. So, if I could hard focus on the fists and take them out first, all of a sudden, I go from needing to dodge 3 things to just 2.
No! So close!
Still struggled with clearing that late first phase, and even reaching second phase was no guarantee. So maybe a few more optimizations are in order. I realized the Tabi was giving me too much movement with the dashes, so I switched back to the Shield of Cthulhu's much more tame dashes, and also replaced the Pygmy Staff with the Deadly Sphere one. This combined with an ever greater determination to only attack the fists until they are gone changed everything. Mostly the focusing even more on the fist part.
There we go! There we go! Golem down!
On to Duke Fishron, who should be pretty easy. Though I have a mod that apparently increases the number of lines from my fishing rod, so hopefully I don't end up spawning a bunch of Dukes.
Okay. I was very concerned for a second there.
Phew, dodged a bullet with that one. And I'm using the same build as I did with Golem, just with my movement accessories back.
Okay, this is way better than I remember it being. I thought they nerfed it and it wasn't nearly as good anymore, but no, Razor Pine still There were 2 of them! That doesn't count! That doesn't count as an attempt!
I so could have first tried the boss, gosh darn it. I figured I would just do that on the second try, but then I goofed and didn't dash how I should have. Then I messed up with the third phase, got taken out by a Fishron, then an exploding bubble I totally missed, and then had the perfect run. If you don't know, in third phase, Duke dashes once, teleports, dashes twice, teleports, and then dashes 3 times, restarting the cycle from there. Moving up and down while dashing horizontally, just before the Duke dashes, will do the trick. This leaves only 3 bosses. 3 more to learn and conquer before I will have learned how to no-hit every single boss. And hopefully, just hopefully, have increased my base skill level, even just a little bit. I'll officially have inched my way towards my objective of being the very best. And another boost to my ego is next with Empress of Light. I've already practiced her boss fight plenty of times in my 1 Year 1 World series, where I killed her 51 times just to get the Stellar Tune. That many back-to-back battles combined with Empress being more obvious with her telegraphs made me quite familiar with her. But even with all my practice, there was always one attack that got me good.
Come on, 1 Year 1 World training, don't fail me now! Oh, yep, that's the attack! That's the attack! Ah! What the heck? Just for good measure.
If I could just dodge that single attack, then I could no-hit Empress no issue. Well, so long as I don't position myself terribly immediately after. I figured dodging that attack required me to fly precisely between the light blades and sparklies. I could dodge it maybe half the time, and the times I did dodge, I would do a dumb immediately after. I failed a few more times, mostly from dumb mistakes, but then that attack killed me again, and chat claimed using the Hexed Branch would make it trivial to dodge. Turns out, they were correct.
Oh, wow! The Hex Branch really does just clear that. Oh, come on! Oh, I had it, and then she just teleports on my face.
Also, turns out this mount isn't nearly as good as I hoped.
Okay, so I found a problem with the Hexed Branch that I'm so fast, I can end up at the end of her dashes. That's a little bit of an issue, but I think that'll be an easier one to deal with.
With that figured out, Empress was soon slain. Cultist is next, and he should be easy enough to deal with. Basically, just stay far away and his projectiles are easy to dodge, and also make sure not to hit a clone. The first attempt ended to an ancient doom spawning directly in my path without me noticing. With the clones too, I couldn't use the night glow since it won't home in until the real one is revealed, and sometimes the sword would whack a fake one before the projectile hit the intended one. Silly mistakes, they'll get you every time, and I'm a silly guy, what can I say? Didn't take too long to no hits, and there wasn't really anything to learn. Just stay away and don't hit the fakes.
Oh, I hit the wrong one. Okay, it's not the same one. It's not the same one every time. Ah! All right, now let's just clear the pillars. There we go. A pending doom approaches. I didn't know that counted as killing him. Uh-oh. All right, I guess we're doing this now. Use the Nebula Blaze. Oh, the Nebula Blaze. Come on, go, 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 go. Ah! All right, we're alive. We're alive. Oh, his eyes open, and I'm in a bad position. Yeah, I'm toast. I am so toast.
Moonlord, the final boss and final obstacle of my journey. This is it. The ultimate final battle is before me, and I only have one thing going for me. I have a strong inner clock that tells me when the Moonlord laser will fire. Other than that, I know nothing about Moonlord's attack pattern, and this is a major problem. When do the phantasmal bolts come? The phantasmal spheres, and especially the massive number of phantasmal eyes. I always spend so much time running away, I never have eyes on the Moonlord himself, and so I have no idea where the projectiles actually come from or when. What might be worse than that, though, is when a single eye is popped and shoots its smaller laser. Normally, running away from an eye is all you need to do, but if the top eye is still around, I need to jump back over, and that brings me close to the eye, leaving my life of chance. Shockingly, the bolts were one of the biggest issues, as I hadn't figured out when to expect them and often wouldn't see them coming. Funnily enough, sky islands were also an issue, sometimes preventing me from flying over the boss like I wanted, so the one above the arena had to be removed. It helped, but I was caught in another death loop. I couldn't figure out how to dodge all the many projectiles this dumb boss was shooting at me. What was I supposed to do? Could I lead any of the projectiles elsewhere? Was there a better strategy? I tried using the witch's broom against my better judgment, but having a flying mount does let me equip more damage-focused accessories, so maybe it'll work. A big issue with flying mounts, though, is they aren't very good at turning on a dime. I can't zip straight up or horizontally at a moment's notice. I often struggled to get away from the Moonlord after spawning him, and even when I could, nothing felt noticeably easier. Plus, I'd already practiced a bunch without a flying mount, so I returned to my old strategy. Some people said to use the truffle mount dropped by Fishron, but I don't get the hype behind it. Sure, it's fast, but it struggles with turning too, and is only useful in the rain. I ain't in any run going to wait for rain just to use this stupid mount, so I'm not going to use it here. I am quite tempted to do so though, because I still can't beat the gosh darn Moonlord. It was not going well. Attempt after attempt, and I couldn't get anywhere. Once again, I look to the mountain of skill issue. I see the valleys of my failures and the peaks of my success. I have grown and I have learned. I have conquered and dominated some and scraped by others by the skin of my teeth. For some, learning and mastering a pattern was all that I needed to do, and some, it all came down to just doing the thing with perfect reflexes and minute changes. And now, here I am, facing down the final hurdle. Beaten, battered, and broken. Failures quickly mount, and I consider that maybe I can just throw in the towel. The taste of honey from near success drives me forward, but that Dryad brings me to the door of failure again, and again, and again. But the thing about failure is that you can pick yourself up from each humiliating defeat better than before. And after every attempt, I have gradually begun to understand Moonlord's pattern more and more, until at last, I could accomplish the impossible. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Oh, finally! Get me there before the explosion. That's right. There it is. Oh my goodness. I am now officially good at the game.
It's over, it's done. Every single boss, no hits, they are beaten. The challenge is laid to rest, and I am much more skilled coming out of this than I was before. Am I the best Terraria player that ever was? No, but for now, I will take this improvement. These calluses upon my hands and feet, worn from this troublesome journey, I will take it, and I will proudly stand more skillful than I have ever been before. And maybe someday, I will take yet another step towards being the very best, the best that ever was.
Yeah, that ain't happening. I'm not good at game. I'm really not.